So I know a lot of actors, performers, singers, dancers, whatever endeavor you're involved in, but usually I speak to actors and it applies to anyone who is really wanting to feel their freedom and to express their freedom fully, is that you're knowing that you're good and you're wanting to be great. You want to realize that you're stuck in a loop of trying to be good. So that looks like you're working hard, you're stressed when you get your audition, you're really thinking a lot about what kind of choices can I make, you're being a lot up here, you're thinking of what kind of choice could I make so that I'm better than the others, what kind of choice does the casting director want me to make so that they book me, how can they like me, how can I look good, how can I please them, basically. So if you're feeling that most of your energy is spent on the outcome, on the booking, that means that you're trying to be good, because good is what's perceived in your mind from the outside. It's not the experience. You defending a character or singing a song has nothing to do with the tag good. That's really the judgment of whether it's good or not. So if your energy is spent on trying to be good and you're feeling that that energy has nothing to do with actually, I'm interested in this character, I'm interested in their circumstances, I'm interested in defending what they're after. That's if you're interested. But if you're stuck and looping in good, your energy is just trying to convince the casting director, trying to look good, trying to please, trying to be right, trying to not make a mistake. And the word try is always there. So if you're noticing that that's the type of energy that you're having when you're preparing for a role or for an audition or for a performance, if you're an athlete, singer, it doesn't matter, then you're leaking that energy to good. And also what you can realize is it doesn't feel great when you're trying to be good. When you're just good, the experience of your performance is kind of shitty. It feels like your nervous system is so tense in order to perform, in order to please, in order to book, in order to get into the future moment, that you're not present. And so you can't enjoy it. So the satisfaction involved in being a good actor or good performer doesn't really check the box. So another thing that will make you know that you're in the good world is that the results are not coming in. So you might have booked a couple things here or there, but actually you're not able to consistently book the type of roles that you want and that fit what you are wanting to defend. So that's the first point. Noticing that you are looping in good. Now, the second point I want to say about this is that you've probably tried to be better and better and better. You've probably tried to improve, to fix what doesn't work, to work with a better coach, a better teacher, a better school, do this workshop from this mentor or guru, or read that book, or listen to the interviews of famous actors on Instagram. So you've tried to fix what seems to not be working inside of you. And I would say that is the biggest problem, because there's nothing to fix. You were born perfect. You still are perfect. But we're going to go back into that a little bit later. So I would say that the second point is really understanding what's going on. And what's going on is that you have been conditioned. So since you were little, when you came out of the womb, you started feeling yourself, you started expressing your tears, and what did your caregivers do? They probably put a pacifier in your mouth. If they didn't do that, they probably shushed you. So that's the very first kind of encounter with the outside world is don't. So you get angry at home, and what will your caregivers say? Also, don't. And you can get punished or humiliated, and then the safety or the love can be withdrawn if you're not behaving as you're told. If you're not feeling the feelings that the neighbors like or that look good on the outside, your caregivers will kind of change their behavior towards you. And as a little person, since your survival depends on them, you can't really afford that. So what you're going to do is, as soon as you're going to feel anger or sadness or fear, you're going to start repressing that and shoving that inside and putting a mask on top of it. So then you go to school, and at school it's even worse, and it's all day long, because you have to do what you're told all day long. You're being told to behave a certain way, you're being told to think a certain way, you're being taught to learn certain things, you're being taught to feel a certain way, you're being taught to move a certain way, which at school means no movement. So everything that is happening at school that is called education, it's actually inducation, because it's something that's forced inside. Education would mean that it's coming from you to the outside, but the traditional system is inducation. You're being forced some material inside of you, and you're being oppressed in your truth. You're being asked to repress your truth. If you don't comply, what happens? You will be shamed. You will be humiliated. You will come in front of the class. You will be told to get outside of the class. You will be asked to justify yourself. You will be put in a corner. In some schools, you still will be hit. You will be shamed with words. So what do you do as a little person who wants to fit and belong and have friends? You submit, right? You accept the control. So that's where you're programmed to obey. So at home, you're really conditioned to, feel what is okay for your caregivers. At school, you're programmed to obey. That's what is happening. So I really want to make sure that you're hearing that. And you're starting to understand now, as a conclusion to the second point, why you're looping in good. Because you have been trained to deliver what you were told from the outside. You haven't been trained to respect, honor, and bow to the movements and the instincts that are coming from you. So inevitably, you grow up learning to submit, obey, be controlled, and then you become an artist, and then you do the same thing. It's a pattern that you've developed, a muscle that you've developed. And so you do what you're told. You try to figure out what the figure of authority wants. In this case, a casting director or someone who's going to book you, or even someone who's going to date you. You're making the other one more important than you. You make them an authority, and then you try to figure out what they want so that you stay safe, so that you stay validated, so that you feel worthy. And it doesn't work because there's no creation involved in that, right? So what's really, really then really important as a third point is, once you've understood what's actually happening, is to really stop the fixing and stop trying to look outside for someone to tell you what to do, because that's the first problem, right? That's the problem in the first place. It's the root issue, is that your life has been listening what to do from other people. That didn't sound like English, but it doesn't matter. I think you got what I meant. You got what I meant. So what you want to start doing is you want to start to come back into your body. You want to start to come back here, inside, now, like actually listening and rediscovering what it's like to hear your guidance, your instinct, the energy that moves through you, your truth, your freedom, your impulses, because they are happening all the time. So you are going to need to come back here to make yourself the authority, to stay there and listen, to not be deaf, disconnected, and denying your truth. So that takes some time because it's like a muscle that you haven't used for a long time. If you were in a cast in a leg for a couple months, you would take off the cast and you wouldn't be able to walk because the muscle of your leg hasn't been used. Well, this is the same thing. You've been so oppressed, and you've had to repress so much and disconnect and put a mask and do what you're told so that you would fit and stay safe and loved, that's really muscled. But that truth of being here now, of honoring what comes through and expressing it fully, that is a muscle that hasn't been trained. That's been atrophied. And so when you're going to want to, because you're understanding, oh shit, I'm just trying to be good for others and I'm not living from within, I'm going to start listening. You'll have that desire, but you may not have access to listening, to tuning in like a radio, to finding the station. Where am I? Because there's layers and layers and layers of conditioning. Again, you were given a pacifier and you were told to feel what your caregivers wanted you to feel. Then you were taught to learn, to do, to move, to think. Like everything about you has been about the outside being shoved into the inside. And so you're going to have to first be here, be present, and listen. So the next point is going to be, once you're accepting to actually come here and listening, you're going to have to start to undo the layers and layers and layers of programming, of formatting, of patterns, of conditioning that do not belong to you. They belong to religion, they belong to a traditional education system, they belong to your parents' patterns that were, transmitted to you. They belong to the culture, to the politics, to the country you were in, but they may have nothing to do with you. So undoing that will take some time, and it will take some specific practices, like some tools, some shovels, so that you can really remove the shackles of the conditioning, the chains, the ropes, the masks. Like it's like operating a little bit of a surgery if you had like fake stuff on you. Or an analogy that I like to use is like if you're in a house and the sewage system hasn't functioned for a long time, well, any water that's been used, whether it's bathroom or, shower or dishes, if it's not going out, the sewage system will start to come out of everything and the house will be full of junk water, right? So that's the analogy for your instrument. Your instrument is your house. And if it hasn't been allowed to move the flows of information and energy that circulate normally in your house, well, it's clogged inside. And so the first thing is going to have to be to empty the house. So to allow yourself to feel all those feelings, to undo the conditioning. And there are many tools that will take you in your voice, in your body, soma, nervous system. There's so many ways to actually go back into your instrument, and they have to go beyond what you're blind to, right? So if you just decided, okay, now I'm going to undo my conditioning, the problem is you are your conditioning. So you may not have access to even know where and when you're stuck and how to come at it because you're inside of it. So if I'm in my clogged plumbing house, and I'm in the middle of it, how can I get to opening the valve at the outside so that the flow can start going into in the street sewage? I can't, because I'm in the middle of it and it's so stuck in there that I don't even know that there's a tube that can go out. So I hope that makes sense. Then the next step, once you've undone everything that is not you, is actually to wake up that old muscle that is yours, which is your freedom, your truth, your instinct, what makes you you, your DNA. So waking up that machine, that incredible, perfect technology that you were born with, that belongs to you, no one else before you, no one else after you, no one now. It is yours. It's absolutely unique in the world. It's your instinct. And again, since it's been sitting in the dark for such a long time, there's no way for it to function. It just can't show up. Just like as I was saying the analogy in a cast, how can that leg work after 3 months in a cast? It can't. How can your instinct work for you after decades of having not been used? There is no way you'll be instinctive. You might have little excesses of freedom here and there, and you'd be like in an audition, oh, yeah, no, I can feel something. It is not even 1% of what's available. What's available inside of you, when that instinct starts to wake up and be remuscled and starts to take the space inside of you, is unfathomable. Look at videos of you when you were a child. Look at children in a playground. Try to run. Try to feel as much as they feel. There is no way you can do it from the instrument you have now. You'd have to first undo all of it, then wake it up progressively, and then you'll start to have your true self back. Your instinct will be online. You'll be able to hear the impulses, to trust them, because it feels so much more amazing than being in good. It feels so alive. It feels like when you go to bed at night, you're fulfilled, you're not drained. When you wake up in the morning, you're as excited as when you go to bed. Like really, you want to realize that when you are yourself, you are excited to start the day. You are thirsty. You are curious. You're interested in life, in the audition, in the whatever you're involved in. You're not trying to be interesting. That's the crucial difference. You're interested. You're not trying to be interesting. So it's a world of difference in terms of how your energy shows up. So again, let's sum it up, and also let you know that on September 29th, I'm actually going live for 5 days. I'm calling it the Acting Revolution event, where we will be on Zoom every day for an hour, and we actually work on undoing the conditioning and waking up the instinct in a group. So there's going to be a link. Click on the link and you can absolutely get a spot in there. We work inside the gift economy, so you get to pay what you can. And yeah, let me resume what we looked at. So for you to be able to go from good to great, and I like Meryl Streep saying about it when she's asked what's the difference between good and great? She says, the great actor is ready to go out on a limb. And that shows the difference, right? The good actor is just wanting to be prepared and controlled, like at school. The great actor is letting that all go and is ready to fall on their face. So the points that we talked about today are, first of all, you want to realize that you're in a loop of just playing into the system of school, where you're just trying to be good or better than others. Then really realizing that you cannot fix that. What's important is that you become present, that you come back to your body so that you can listen to what's actually going on in here. Then you want to start doing all the conditioning that's been shoved down your throat and that has tied up your instrument inside of a rope, basically, inside of a straightening jacket under a mask. Like there's no way that you can just be present and free. And then the last point we made was to look at how it's really important for you to also wake up. Not important, it's crucial to wake up with practices, to wake up that instinct so it remembers how to function. So nothing to learn here, nothing new, nothing to go look a teacher for. It's really realizing you're stuck in there, understanding why, which is the conditioning, and then starting to undo and awaken. And then you'll inevitably be great because you were born great, because nature made you great, because we're all great. We're all incredibly, miraculously, fantastically, amazingly great. There's nothing else that you could be. It's not even am I worthy or am I not worthy. You just are. You're alive. You're a miracle. And you deserve to live that. And the rest of this world needs you to be that. We don't need you to be a copy of anyone else or a disconnected version of yourself. We need you, especially now, in a world that hasn't evolved and is still just in conflict and war all the time. We need you more than ever. We need your truth, what nature planted in you to be fully lived and fully expressed. And from there, from that beautiful, truthful diversity that we all have, we can have unity. But we first need for everyone to be themselves, not for everyone to be feeling oppressed and depressed, because then we'll be in conflict forever. Hour every day. All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.